In this tutorial, you're going to learn how to use Google Sheets as a CRM alternative. So first, let's go to your Make account, and within the dashboard, go to the Scenarios tab. And from here, we can see our initial scenario, which connects our Pipedrive as the CRM. And this alternative is a free version, and you can use this to build your simple CRM using Google Sheets. So let's go ahead and create our scenario by going to the upper right corner and clicking this Create a Scenario button. So first, let's create our trigger. So all of the leads or contacts that we will be adding to the Google Sheet will be coming from Facebook. And in this particular case, those users that submitted a form. So for us to be able to add those contacts, we need first to create a trigger. So let's type in Facebook lead ads trigger. And from here, we're going to select the new lead trigger. So basically, this trigger will execute whenever there's a new lead submission. So first, let's create a connection. And since we have already connected our Facebook page, we just need to name this connection using your business portfolio name, and then city limit realty, using your Facebook page name, and then let's add a keyword Google Sheet to indicate that this webhook connection is connected to your Google Sheet. And then this drop down menu, let's select city limit realty. And then from here, you can select a form, or you can leave this empty if you want this trigger to execute for all the forms available to your business page. To make this scenario flow more simpler, we're going to select a particular form, so we don't need to set up any additional filters. And let's select all of this field to return the values of these variables whenever this module executes. Click OK. So now that's done. Let's go ahead and test out this connection first, just to make sure that it's properly connected. So let's go to the lead ads testing tool. And you can see here all the pages that are attached to that account will populate here. So in this case, we are testing this Facebook page, City Limit Realty, and this particular form, Real Estate Submission Form. So before you can submit, let's first delete our initial submissions, if there are any. So your lead has been successfully deleted. And then after that one, let's run first our scenario. You can do that by clicking on this lower left corner, this run once button, or you can just right click on the module and then run this module only. Now, since this is an instant trigger, it will first wait for an input before this module will be executed. So that input will be coming from this lead ad testing tool form. So let's submit the form by clicking this preview form. And then let's just submit some random answers here. So these are the pre-qualifying questions that we added earlier during the form creation. And let's just leave all of the contacts details as is, and then click continue. Click submit. Going back to make, the data should arrive. There you go. As you can see here, the scenario was able to execute successfully and return all of these values here. So lead ID is the unique identifier of the user. Form ID is the unique identifier of the form. And we can also see here the field data, which contains all the answers to the form questions you have created. Additionally, there's also the contact details like the full name, the phone number, and the email address, which is very much helpful. Now that's done. The next thing that we need to do is to connect our Google Sheet form to this module. But first, let's properly customize our Google Sheet so we can easily map out the data. Let me zoom in here. What we want to do here is that for every contact submission, that contact will be added to this Google Sheet as a new row. So the columns will contain all of the field parameters, and the rows will contain all of the contact details. So we want to add as much data as possible from the return bundle output. So going back to make, let's review the fields that we want to store. So definitely want to store the lead ID and the form ID as well, the date created as well, and all of the answers to this field data. We need to add that to our Google Sheet, and the full name, phone number, and email ID as well. And we can also add the page ID, right? So let's go ahead, start with lead ID, and then form ID, date created. So let's just add them in the same sequence as it is being returned in the bundle, to avoid confusion. And then the field data. So this will be question number 1 about finance, and then question number 2 about timeline, and then question number 3 about motivation, question number 4 about contingencies. Did I spell it correctly? And then we'll add the full name, phone number, and email. And then lastly, page ID. So again, you don't have to do this in the same sequence. That might be more confusing for you. I just wanted to show it to you this way, for easier illustration. Let me size the column. 150. And I want to freeze this. Freeze the first row. There you go. So now that's done. Let me just format this a little bit. Sorry, let's make it green and then white. There you go. All right, so now let's add first the module, and then let's map all of those fields to the module. So click on this, add another module, and then let's just find the Google Sheets, right? And then what we want to do is we want to add a row. So let's find that action right here. So this one, add a row. And then first, let's establish a connection between Make and your Google Sheet account. For the name, you can name this whatever you want to name it. This is based on your preference. And then click Sign In with Google. So from here, you just need to sign in your account, the account that you used to create the sheet. All right, so now that's connected. Let's now search the spreadsheet that we've just created. Let me just go back here and rename this Google Sheet Test CRM. Let me just organize this Google Sheet inside a folder so we can easily find it later on. Let's create a new one for that new folder for that spreadsheet. Okay, so once that's done, let me just refresh this. And it's just 1, 2, 3 Google. There you go. Then click this plus sign button to add the actual spreadsheet. So this is the folder location and this is the spreadsheet name, right? So now it's asking for the sheet name. So the sheet is this one. This is sheet number 1. So if you want to add this to another sheet, you can just add a new sheet here and then select that new sheet. So in this case, that would be sheet number 2, right? But for this example, we'll just stick with sheet number 1. So going back to our make scenario, click the drop down button and select sheet number 1. And yes, the table contains headers. So these are the headers, right? And these are the fields that we're going to map against the bundle output of the trigger module. So for the lead ID, let's just select this lead ID output from our trigger module, which is the new lead action module. And the form ID and the date created. So this is the reason why I wanted to create it in sequence, so it would be easier for me to drag and drop the values. But yeah, you can change the sequence or the order of the fields however you like. And question number 1, question number 2 about timeline, question number 3 about motivation, question number 4 about contingencies, full name, phone number, and email as well. And we'll also be adding in the page ID. Where's that page ID? There you go. All right, so that's it. Those are the only fields that we need to map. All the rest are blank column in our Google Sheet, and we don't want to add any data on those columns. Click OK. All right, so now let's test our scenario. Let's save this one first, and then let's do another run. Going back to delete add testing tool, let's first delete the first submission that we did, and let's submit another one by clicking on this preview form. This time, let's try to remember the answers that we submitted to the form. So for question number 1 about finance, let's select cash. For question number 2 about timeline, let's select ASAP. For question number 3 about motivation, let's select relocating. And for question number 4 about contingencies, let's select none, right? And then the full name would be Liam Hawthorne. The mobile number is 0917-123-4567, and the email address is liam.hawthorne@pm.me. Click continue, and let's submit the form. Going back to make, we should receive the data soon. There you go. The scenario was successfully executed, and you can see here in the bundle bubble, there's an additional row that's been added. And if we go to the Google Sheet, we can see here the details that was added to Google Sheet, right? So let's just format this a bit. It copied the format of the header. So let's reset that. Let's make it gray, and then not bold, and then smaller. Yep. Okay, so we've added Liam Hawthorne. Let's create another one, right? So let's first run the scenario again, and then going back to delete ads testing tool, let's delete the submission, and let's create a new one, right? So this time for the question about financing, let's create not sure yet. And then for timeline, 1 to 3 months. For motivations, first time. And then for contingencies, others. This time, let's add another account, Alexi Taylor, right? And let's have the phone number. Let's just change the last digit to 9. And then this will be alexi.taylor@pm.me. Click continue, and then click submit. Let's go back to make and wait for the data to arrive. There you go. It was successful. And if we go back to Google Sheet, you can see here that that new contact has been added. So this is Alexa Taylor. Cash is not sure. Timeline is 1 to 3 months. Motivation is, let's zoom in. Motivation is first time. Contingencies is others. And then the email address is alexa.taylor@pm.me. And this is the page ID. All right, so that's how you create a simple, very easy Google Sheet CRM. Again, if you are serious about building your database, I'd highly recommend use Pipedrive instead. It's designed for scaling. At a certain time in your database, if it gets to 1,000 or even more than 500, it starts to lag, and Google Sheets is not really designed to store all that data inside Google Sheet, and it's very hard to push data and also to retrieve. So might as well use Pipedrive. But just in case you want to test this out first, this is how you do it. 2 modules, very simple. Hope that helps.